Y'all ever played the game Mafia? If you've never played Mafia, listen, do yourself and your family and your friends a favor and play Mafia. I'm going to try my best to briefly explain Mafia. I don't do well explaining the game, but if you play it, it's like really, really fun. But the point of the game is there are civilians in the game and there are Mafia in the game, right? And the whole idea of the game is that you have to, if you're a Mafia person, like if your card that you select, you're the Mafia, it is your job to convince the civilians in the room that you are not a part of the Mafia. And of course, the whole goal is for the Mafia to win, or for the civilians to win over the Mafia. Now, look, it's really hard to explain. Like, I'm not good at explaining the game, but it's super fun. Like, super, super fun. If you've never played it with your family and friends, please look it up and play it. You know, some of us who don't prefer, you know, the gory way that Mafia is described, you can change it. You know, you can change it. You can call it whatever you want to. You can call it resurrection, you know, and you be the disciples and other people be Jesus. I don't know. But the whole point of the game and how it's played is super fun. So I don't know if you want to rapture people up or if you want to kill them off in the Mafia. Either way it go, the game is fun. It's very family friendly. Even the kids can play. And it's a good, like, game night, family night type of thing. So, again, gist of this game is to convince other people that you're not who they think you are. And the whole point of the game, too, is to not be found out. So if you are the Mafia, you don't want them to find out that's who you are. My kids used to be hype about a very similar game called Among Us. Maybe some of you all are similar with the game Among Us. I'm not sure how popular Among Us still is, but it pretty much has the same concept. When I looked it up, like, as Mafia, I think there is a character in the game called the Imposter or something like that, and you gotta not be found out. So yeah, that's the Among Us has the similar goal to Mafia, and I'm just wondering, you know, how many of us are playing that game in real life? How many of us are playing that game in real life? Like when you show up in spaces in your life, whether that's motherhood, whether that's you going to work, whether you're in school, whether you're on stage performing, whether you're with certain friend groups, do you feel like you belong there? Or do you feel like you're a fraud that might be found out? When people compliment you and they tell you how good of a job you're doing, do you believe them? Or do you believe yourself to be lucky, or more so just blessed to have had these opportunities given to you and not necessarily see them as ones that you've earned? Are you trying to prove to others that you're not an imposter? And if not you, then who? Welcome to the Breathe Black Mom podcast, where moms of color can come to relax, relate, and release. I'm your host, T. What's up, my BBMs and BBLs? Pause. How are y'all? Hopefully everyone enjoyed their Mother's Day holiday. Listen, I know I did because I told y'all last week what I wanted. I told y'all last week what I wanted, and I got just that. My husband made sure that I got just that. I stayed in bed all day. That's what I wanted. That is what my heart desired. I said I don't want no cards. I don't want no flowers. Don't take me out to eat. I want to stay right here. I want to stay right here uninterrupted. Now the kids did still give me a card, and one of them made me a flower, and that was sweet. Thank you so much. But the rest in there, that is what I desire. My husband even went as far as to put a sign on the door. He put a sign on the door, said, "Do not disturb," and locked the door. So them kids could not bother me. Did they still bother me? Yes, they found their way in. But for the most part, I was able to do exactly what I said I was going to do and just stay in the bed. And that is exactly what I wanted for Mother's Day. So mine was amazing. I got to binge watch some shows. I didn't get out of that bed unless I had to pee. Like, I didn't respond to no messages until I felt like it. Some of y'all got some delayed Happy Mother's Day. If I missed you, still Happy Mother's Day. I love you. But I was resting and I deserved to rest. So hopefully All of you got to do the same, or, do whatever it was that your heart desired for that time of being honored, celebrated, or whether you were honoring and celebrating the moms in your life. I just pray everybody enjoyed it. So we are back, y'all, for another week in episode 19 of the podcast, and it's a bit bittersweet, y'all. You want to know why? Let's pause real quick. Cut the music for 1 second. Y'all, it's a wrap for season 1. I know it's a wrap. Like, I did it. We did it. We did it. I cannot believe that we have been together for 1 full season of Breathe Black Mom, the podcast. I have built this amazing community of listeners out here, and I'm not going to do no crying on the mic. Like, I'm not going to do that. But again, it's just truly bittersweet, y'all. I cannot believe that I did it. I cannot believe that 19 episodes later, here we are. It's a whole podcast, but this is not a goodbye, so I'm not gonna make it all bittersweet and emotional, because we ain't saying goodbye. It is so much more in store for Breathe Black Mom, but I do have to take a pause for the cause. It's a lot coming up for the family this summer in the next few weeks, so I need that time to just reset. I also need time because I gotta get started on season 2. I gotta get started on season 2 early. Season 2 is gonna be a beast, and it is gonna be good. Okay, so I am really excited, for where we're headed. This is, again, not a goodbye. We are just wrapping up season 1, and I'm so grateful for y'all. But we'll get to that in the end. In the meantime, please make sure you are subscribed to the Breathe Black Mom podcast through any of our streaming platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. And I know y'all like, for why do you want us to subscribe? You leaving. I'm not leaving, not quite. So just because the season is over doesn't mean I'm going to be gone. So y'all got to stick around for what else is coming up in between season 2. And how else can you do that if you are not subscribed? Now, after you subscribe, please make sure you're following Breathe Black Mom, the podcast, on both the social media platforms, because this is where it's going to be this summer. This summer, I got some stuff planned, and this is where it's going to go down. So if you're not already following on Facebook and Instagram, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss it because you're going to be over here on the podcast, and that ain't where it's going down. It's going to be on the Facebook or the Instagram, and maybe even YouTube. So in order to be a part of what's going down this summer, you got to go follow us, okay? I got some good stuff in store for y'all. Now, once you've done both of those things, make sure you like and make sure you share this episode to other people so they can listen in and become a part of the BBM family. Unless y'all just trying to be selfish and keep it to yourself, but don't be like that. Don't be like that. Tell the other people. They deserve to know too. They deserve to know and be a part, okay? Lastly, don't forget, leave a review. Tell the people if you're liking this or not. I mean, listen, the people have successfully wrapped up their first season of a podcast. What better time to share with the people how you're feeling or not? If not now, what better time? So go ahead. You've been listening this entire season. You know what I'm talking about? You've been listening to the entire season. You ain't said a word. Ain't liked, ain't shared, ain't hit the stars. At least now hit the stars. You done got the full season. You done heard a little bit of what it's about. Just a snippet, because we got so much more to come. But the least you can do before you go is hit a star. Hit the star and say, hey, I'm here, and I liked it. Okay? All right. That's enough, because y'all know I like to cut the food on that part. But let's get ready for our last formal episode of season 1 and find out who's the imposter. So if you've been a loyal listener of Breathe Black Mom from episode 1, you've heard me talk a lot about how long it took me to launch this actual podcast. 3 years, if you were wondering and you haven't been listening. 3 years that I worked on this project silently. And there were several reasons I did it silently. Some of those reasons were just because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what it would be. God gave me this name, had it for a while. Again, if you were a part of like my OG original BBM group on Facebook where I had, moms, and we would meet up and talk on Zoom. You already know that this has been like years in the making. So I knew I had a name, didn't quite know where I was going with it. Facebook, the little platform I was doing there, just wasn't it. So that was one reason I was just like, God's still working on this. So let me just keep quiet and let him work. Some of the other reasons were because, I was studying it. I was learning it. I was taking classes, going to groups, watching YouTubes. I had to learn all the things because I'm just one of them people. Before I do something, I got to know what I'm doing. So I was taking time to learn it, and really kind of get it under my belt before I launched it. And also, other reasons is just because you just can't share everything with everybody, and as much as you don't want the whole everybody won't be happy, everybody won't support you stuff to be false, it's very true. It's very true. Everybody doesn't have your best interests at heart. Everybody won't be rooting for you or encouraging you to live out a dream. So at the time of embarking on something as scary as this was for me, who doesn't want to be surrounded by people who are safe, right? And who are rooting for you, and encouraging you to do this. So, but the main reason out of all of those reasons that it took me so long to launch this podcast was fear. I was afraid. I think I've said that multiple times. I was scared. I didn't know what to expect. I was also very heavily doubting myself and being able to do this. Although getting on a mic and talking about my own experiences in motherhood would appear to be easy and seamless, like, what more do you need to know about your life, right? I mean, last time I checked, I'm the expert of my life in my own experience with motherhood. So you would think that, well, what is there to fear, T? But yet, somehow, I still did not feel qualified to talk to y'all about my life. I know that sounds stupid. Like, what? I know I didn't feel qualified to talk to y'all about my life and my experience. How you don't feel qualified to talk about your story is yours, T. It's your story. I know that, but that's how imposter syndrome shows up, and that's how it works. There's this fear that those of us who may have struggled with imposter syndrome, or, if you didn't know and now you figuring out you have imposter syndrome, that you're going to somehow be exposed. There's this fear that's surrounded by some of the dumbest stuff, right? Like, she don't know what she's talking about. Well, most of what I'm talking about is my life, right? So I should know. Or, that she's a frog and not frog like Princess and Tiana, because, that's my girl, because she's my namesake. But fraud with the D. I also don't have a my Invisalign, y'all. I can't wait till I'm talking to y'all like across the camera, so y'all could tell when I have my Invisalign in or not, because the list is going to be lisping and you just going to know, like, she ain't got them Invisalign in, because it's too many tongue coming across too many times. But anyway, the part about she's a fraud, and that's the one for me, because who wants to be seen as fraudulent, fake? Not me, or not authentic. Like, I live my life in a space of authenticity. Look at that. Said it. Ain't got my Invisalign in, and I said it. And as much as I know that I'm not a fraud or a fake or anything like that, imposter syndrome will convince you otherwise. Now, you would think as a therapist, I was well versed at this topic and this term, but I actually had never heard about this until I started working in higher education about 9 years into my career. So I don't know if I'll share this. I don't work there no more, so I guess I could talk about it. I got a job in 2019. Was it 2019? I don't remember. 2019, top of 2020, one of them. But I was working at Georgia Tech. Now, y'all know, the fans of Georgia Tech, anybody who's familiar with Georgia Tech, it is a very esteemed university. Like they explained it to me when I got the job, like the valedictorians of the world and the salutatorians of the world, just put all of them at one school. That's Georgia Tech. Super smart kids. And along with super smart kids comes super smart, super esteemed faculty. They're not just known for their sports. Like, it's a really good school, and it's a really esteemed school. It's a great school. Smart kids. So anyway, I applied to this job. I go to this interview, and it is very intimidating, people. It was probably the most intense and intimidating interview experience I've ever went through. It was 3 parts. I had a phone interview, and then I had 2 in-person full day interviews, and I was like, what the what? Like, what is happening here? And just the people that I sat before just seemed, they seemed like, oh God, like, am I supposed to be here? Like, so the whole process of getting that job was just very intimidating. The school itself, just being able to work for, I was just like, did they read my resume right? Like, they sure they picked the right person? Long story short, plot, spoiler alert, I got the job, right? I got the job. Now understand that when I got the job, I was excited, but I was highly confused. Like, why they choose me? Like, so much so confused that, the coworkers that I did get tight with, shout out to them, missed them so much. I remember asking them, like, why they choose me? Who was the other candidate? Like, in my mind, I'm like, the other candidate had to be trash, because why did they pick me? Like, I just couldn't believe it, right? I couldn't believe it. I was excited, but I also just was like, I work at Georgia Tech, like, amongst these esteemed individuals. Every time I walked in my office or sat down at that big, large conference room table we would meet at, I would be like, I just can't believe I work here. Like, I couldn't believe I worked there. And even more so when they kept referring to me, like, as an expert in my field. And I'm like, who? Child, who an expert? Child, I still be doodling and drawing cartoon characters while we having staff meetings and passing notes to my friends and, like, texting inappropriate things. Like, who is an expert? To me, an expert who wrote some books or something. Like, they take their job serious. I still don't take life too serious sometimes. So what you mean I'm an expert? Like, who told y'all I was an expert at anything? Like, I felt like, did I lie on my resume? Like, did I lie on my resume, and were they gonna find out that I lied on my resume and fire me? Like, what's going on here? So what is imposter syndrome? Like, what is it that you talking about, girl? What is it? Imposter syndrome is a form of self-doubt, and it is a false belief that you're not capable or as confident as other people may perceive you to be in a thing, right? The thing could be, just who you are. It's a belief that despite all the external evidence that says different, all the things around you that says differently, that you are qualified, that you are competent to do the thing or be the thing, you have an internal belief that you're a fraud or you're fake, and that people are going to find out that I'm a fraud and I'm a fake. People like myself with imposter syndrome struggle to believe that, we struggle with being able to internalize and accept our successes as something that we did. And a lot of times we're basing it on luck or chance or, God just favored me. Maybe sometimes even privilege, It's a really common thing that a lot of people experience and don't really realize what they're experiencing, or, have never really heard of a term like me. I had never heard of this term until I went into higher education. And the reason it's so commonly heard in higher education because a lot of college kids struggle with imposter syndrome. More specifically, college kids of color, right? College kids of color struggle a lot with this. And I mean, as we can imagine, for so many different reasons, just systemically, the Invisalign ain't working for me there. Systemically, historically, we can understand why a child in college who is a person of color would struggle with feeling like they don't belong there, right? Or feeling like, hey, how did I get here? So that is why that term is really, really common in higher education. But after hearing it, after it becoming introduced to me, it didn't take long for me to be like, oh man, that's me. Like, that is me. When I first heard it, I'll never forget, I had a grad student who was like, yeah, I want to come into therapy because I'm struggling with imposter syndrome. And I'm sitting there like, girl, why she talking? I'm over there flipping through Google. What is imposter syndrome? Because I'm about to sign up and help her. I don't even know what she's talking about. Talk about feeling like a fraud, child. I'm all on the Zoom like, yeah, girl, we could get you some sessions. What the heck is imposter syndrome? Let me look it up. And that's when I was like, oh shoot. Like I remember, like, I started replaying all the ways I've witnessed it show up in my life. And I think it showed up in multiple ways, but grad school for sure was one of the first times I felt like, baby, whew, I'm a whole fraud. But I think right now the two areas where it just likes to thrive and hang out the most is my career, and motherhood, which is the whole reason I'm here with y'all. Now, sidebar before we move on, I do want y'all to understand imposter syndrome is not a mental health diagnosis. Now, okay, I like to diagnose people. I do. I'm qualified to diagnose people. I am. But this is not a diagnosis, y'all. It's not in the DSM. This is more of a phenomenon. So I don't want y'all to be hearing this, be like, Lord, she love diagnose somebody and she got anxiety and it ain't a diagnosis, okay? It's something that, researchers, they're learning more and more about. And they do a lot of talks on. You can find a lot of books on imposter syndrome, a lot of TED Talks, YouTubes, everything you want to know. So it's not a diagnosis, but it is more of like a common phenomenon amongst people. And I'm okay with it not being a diagnosis. I'm okay because she got bad nerves already. Okay, because now I got to be an imposter too. Like, I'm okay with it, because give me a break, Jesus. Give me a break. Another interesting fact about it, though, speaking of my anxiety, is that imposter syndrome can result from, and we're gonna get to that in a second, having anxiety. So it kind of goes hand in hand with people who are severely anxious like myself to develop imposter syndrome. So yeah, just a couple fun facts. Now, what I've noticed over the years, now that I've become more familiar with imposter syndrome, is when people learn about it, they initially misinterpret what it means. When people initially hear that word imposter, the first thing that comes to mind is fake. Oh, she fake. Oh, she's a fraud, like I said earlier. And listen, people don't like that right there, baby. People don't like for you to call them a fake and a fraud, no matter how true it is. No. Okay. No matter how true, they don't like you to call them a fake or a fraud or anything above, because the girls be wanting to tussle over that. And, I don't blame them. I can't even say I blame them, child. Even the ones it's true for, I can't blame them, because I relate to that. I relate to not wanting to be, called a fraud or fake. Because again, I pride myself on being 100% authentic in who I am. And I would hate to be perceived as anything other than who I am. Like, it would definitely make me defensive as well. Like, if I hadn't experienced the introduction to imposter syndrome the way I was, and somebody came to me and be like, girl, you got imposter syndrome, I'd be like, who you talking to? Like, who is you talking to? Like, I ain't no imposter. Okay, I'm playing. Yeah, but no. It's actually the exact opposite of that initial, like, ugh, I'm fake. It's not somebody else's belief in who you are, because most of the time the other people don't see you that way at all. It's how you see you. Now, some of the ways that imposter syndrome may show up in your life, if you're one of the people who listening, is like, tell me more about that. I don't know. I might have a little bit of that. I might just be interested in learning more. Some of the ways it might show up is, number one, you don't feel that you deserve your success, or you downplay it, right? So, example, I mentioned grad school. I got into grad school. I had to take a break from school because I had Jay. Go back to that episode, Meet Jay. I took a break from college, which ended up, when I did go back, I only took a year off, but I was 2 years behind in graduating because of how everything fell, which sucked. So I told myself, if I'm going to go to grad school, the only way I'm going, I got to get into advanced standing, and I got to do 1 year. That's it. And I got to go right after college because I'm done. Like, I'm already graduating 2 years behind. I feel like my life is 2 years behind. Like, that's the only way I'm going to do this thing. And, I got in. And I remember, I had a teacher who was on the board for the program that I went into, and I loved that teacher. And when I got in, my immediate thought was not, girl, congratulations to you, Tiana, you worked your butt off and got in grad school. No, my immediate thought was like, oh, I think she got me in. Ain't that something? Ain't Ain't that something? I done spent 5 years in college at this point, working my behind off. Them last 2 years, I mean, literally putting in work. Because after I came back from having Jay, I was not playing. Like, ain't no partying. And I done did all that. Like, it was 3 years. Yeah, because I got pregnant my second year. Them 3 years after coming back with her, I won't play no games. Like, none played, busting out A's. I got to graduate. Like, I got to finish what I started. And you would think that I'm like, Tiana, you did it. Like, your hard work paid off. You got in, girl. I'm sitting here like, she probably got me in. Like, just crazy. Like, she probably got me in. Not the fact that, girl, I think I graduated. Somebody's cum laude. Like, I graduated pretty nice in undergrad. I had great grades. I had great references. Like, why would you not think you could get into this program? Child, that's how imposter syndrome works. I felt like I was lucky, or somehow chance got me into my grad program. And I'm just like, Tiana, you are tripping. I was tripping. You know, even when it comes to motherhood, you know, downplaying, you know, the whole idea of you being a good mom, you know, if your kids are overly talented or well behaved or smart, you know, not attributing any of those things to you. Like, oh, you know, listen. If any of my kids are smart at math, I instantly be like, they got it from my husband. Cause baby, don't give me no math problems. Don't give me no math problems. You're going to be highly disappointed. Cause let me tell you who's not qualified in that area, me. So, and I mean, could it be genetic? Yes. But could it be also that I just value school and I make them do their work and study? Maybe that, I don't know. But I'm instantly like deflecting, like, yeah, you know, they talented because of this and they talented because of that. You know, that's another way it could show up. Just not wanting to take credit for the things that you are absolutely responsible for. Another way that it shows up is in being a perfectionist or a procrastinator. Now listen, we like to brag on being a perfectionist, and I'm going to be the first person who going to tell y'all, being a perfectionist is not the flex that you think it is. Baby, it is not the flex you think you are. Like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. Baby, I don't want to be a perfectionist. I know what comes with being a perfectionist. Like, I have always been a very anxious overachiever. Overachiever, very anxious about it, right? Accomplishing things for me, getting things, you know, accolades for things. It was a tangible way. Let me tell y'all how this therapy works, baby, because a few years ago I probably couldn't say this. But getting accolades and accomplishing things and getting good grades was a tangible way for me to self-validate, right? To self-validate. I didn't have the internal voice to do it for me, to hype my own self up and be like, girl, you the bomb. You know, sis, you doing a good job. Sis, I ain't had it. So my grades said it for me. You know, whatever I was getting said it for me. The award said it for me. The spot on the club said it for me. Like, those were the things that did it for me. That was how I validated myself, is in my accomplishment. And, you know, there's so many theories. We're going to get to that too, about why imposter syndrome develops. But I know being a perfectionist has a lot to do with your role in your family. I'll do a whole episode one day for y'all about family roles, because literally it's one of my favorite topics to talk about in therapy. But if you look up family roles, you know, one of the family roles is the hero. That is my role in my family. I'm the hero child. I'm the child that, quote unquote, I'm saying this loosely, quote unquote, got it right, quote unquote, excelled, did everything, you know, the golden child. That was my role. But do you know how much inadequacy, how many feelings of inadequacy comes with being a perfectionist, comes with being the hero child, the golden child? Do you know the amount of anxiety it causes when you've been known or been praised about getting it right your whole life, and then one day you don't? Like, that is not a flex. People, it is not a flex. It doesn't leave any room for you to be seen as humanly flawed, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting. So I'm gonna do a whole episode on that one day, but not today. On the other side of this is procrastination with a person with imposter syndrome. it's because of those feelings of inadequacy. Like we doubt ourselves, we doubt our ability or our skill set to perform the task. So we let it just kind of linger and play around, and we just don't do it. Cause we're like, I'll get to, I don't know if I can do it, right? And it'd be simple stuff that could have just been knocked out. Like, if I told y'all, one day, if I told y'all the way I procrastinate about this podcast every freaking single week, oh baby, y'all would not believe me if I told y'all the amount of procrastination. Y'all hear the end result and be like, oh my God, that was good. And y'all send me the things. Oh my God, T, you did such an amazing job. I love the episode. And I'd be like, baby, if you knew what I went through to get this episode out, if you knew what I went through, it would give y'all anxiety. It would give y'all anxiety to just know how close it be that y'all won't get an episode this week. Like, I don't know why God made me like this. I don't know why he made me like this. He got some explaining to do. But yeah, like, I be playing each and every week. I be playing too close with y'all procrastinating. And all y'all know is it's done. Y'all listening to it. It's out there. Here you go. But there's this quote. I love quotes about procrastination. And that one always pierced me. Like, I can't remember it, so I couldn't find it. I ain't on social media right now besides the post for y'all. But it's something like, procrastination is a selfish belief that God is going to give us more time or something like that. Like, ooh, who are you talking to? Because that's exactly how selfish I be feeling. Like, I'll do it tomorrow. What if tomorrow don't come, child, and I'm supposed to be doing it today? And another one more recently I heard about procrastination that really stuck with me is procrastination is disobedience in slow motion. Just turn the mic off. Turn the mic off. Because we all disobedient. We all just being disobedient. Bye. Another way that it may show up is being afraid, constantly of being exposed as a fake. Like, this constant fear of people gonna think I'm fake, people gonna expose me, right? We wear masks. Everybody wears a mask of some sort. We don't always show up as our true, authentic selves everywhere we go. And in some instances, that's okay, because it's a form of like protection. It's like a defense mechanism. And we're not always safe to show up as our authentic selves in every setting. So that's okay sometimes. But, every person I know got a part of you that you just don't want exposed that's not even as deep as, that's not even as deep as imposter syndrome. But we could be, afraid of being exposed over something that is true about ourselves, but not necessarily belief we carry about ourselves. So, for example, going back to me being a perfectionist, it used to be a feeling before therapy of me that I had to keep it all together, right? As a part of being a perfectionist, you got to keep it all together because you're the one with the, that's the best child, quote unquote, or the best person. You got to keep it together. But therapy and my husband was the reason I started to let that go. Like, that is not true, right? If I am not all together, that doesn't make me fake. It doesn't make me a fraud. It makes me human. That theory I had in my head was fake. Like, that idea I had in my head that I had to keep it all together was fake. And, one of the parts of my life that triggered that for me was bed rest. When I was on bed rest, I struggled so bad mentally. And I was trying to struggle through that by myself. I felt alone, but I also wasn't reaching out to tell anybody about it. I was just kind of sitting in it because I was like, I'm supposed to be okay. Da, 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 blah, blah, blah. And, I already told y'all in terms of wearing a mask and stuff in the previous episode of Choosing Motherhood and episodes before that as a mom, I keep striving for this thing called perfectionism that's unrealistic, but I do it. And when I don't reach that unrealistic beliefs, I feel like, okay, my mask slipping, they see me and they're gonna be like, she a fake and she a phony. And I told y'all I shouldn't really let them kids like that. Like, I be feeling like, my kids gonna go on World Star Hip Hop and they're gonna air me out, right? Or Shade Room, and then it's all gonna be like exposed and I don't even be knowing what I'm fearing. Because what's left to air out that I ain't already told y'all up here on this podcast? I didn't tell y'all about Pooch. Let me tell y'all about Pooch real quick. I ain't tell y'all about Pooch. My 7-year-old last week was hiding grapes and cream cheese under her bed. Like this is a real thing that happened. Pooch had an entire Sam's Club case of grapes under her bed, a package of cream cheese, and a box of Captain Crunch. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why, because I don't know what goes through her head. I really don't know. But anyway, like I was saying, y'all know most of my business. I mean, a lot of it anyway. Everything else you don't know is coming in season 2, and just stay tuned for that. The other way it might show up, a fear of failure. So I think this one is self-explanatory based on what I've already said. Just having that overall fear of, due to shame or whatever, being previously humiliated, or just simply replaying your mistakes over and over in your head and feeling like, hey, I can't make a mistake, or I can't fail because I'm not going to be who people think I am. And then another way is the need to be the best. Okay, back to us perfectionist children, overachieving children. We just had this need to be the best. Like, I remember I was trying to pass this state board exam that I could not pass. And that was like the first something in my life that I just could not do it. Like, I kept failing it. And I called my mom crying. And I remember her saying this to me. I don't even know if she remembered this, but it was one of those things that stood out to me. That's like one of those things that I always think back to if I feel like I am not the best at something, or I'm going to quote unquote fail at something. My mom was telling me, it wasn't verbatim, but she basically was saying like, look, T, everything you've ever went out for, you've got. Everything you've ever tried to accomplish, you've did it. Everything you've entered to, contests, you've done it. And it's hard for you to process this because you're not used to failing. Like, you're not used to being the best or getting a win, and it's okay. Like, that this is not the thing that you were able to win at. And I was like, you know what? Gosh darn it, somebody get her offering plate. Get her offering plate. Because she was right. Like, she was right. I was like, everything. And I really started thinking back like, dang, like everything I've ever tried out for, everything, I've entered in, or I've won, or I got it picked, or, I got an A or whatever. And I'm like, this is the thing that I just can't beat. And it was defeating. And for me, I was internalizing that. And my mama was like, girl, like, let it go. Like, you're not going to be the best at everything. And that's okay. Do what you need to do to pass this test, but don't let it be a testament to whether you're good enough. And I was like, well, let it preach, mama. That's why God gave me you. But it all goes back to perfection. I feel like all of these things kind of tie back into the same concept, but it's like perfectionism and, wanting to be the best. And then lastly, one of the other ways that it might show up is, the need to feel like you have to constantly compare yourself to other people. Again, self-explanatory. Comparing your achievements, comparing your successes, comparing your mothering techniques to somebody else's mothering techniques, like sizing up your inadequacies against somebody else, because that's really what it is. Like, everybody is inadequate in some way. You're just sizing yours up next to theirs, and that's a clear sign that there's an internal struggle happening that doesn't need to be happening, because there's some work yet to be done if you are constantly pitting yourself up against somebody else. Now, T, how did I get like this? Well, I'm so glad you asked. But I don't know how you got like that, child. I don't know. Because we all got our own reasons to why we are the way we are. But so many researchers, and like I said, there's so many books, so many things you can find on imposter syndrome. They're all going to give you different reasons as to why they feel like this is a thing in people. And I can tell you, what the people over at Psychology Today said it could be, but I don't know that that's your reason for it. And it could be so many reasons why a person may develop imposter syndrome. One of them being your family upbringing, the expectations there, and the success and perfection. Depending on what your family believed, and how they defined success and how they defined perfect or whatever, that could very well play into why you feel the way you do. Family upbringing just has a lot to do with everything, child. That's just kind of the framework I work out of anyway as a therapist. Like, I feel like everything relates back to how you were raised, period, and your experiences in childhood. To me, that makes up who you are as an adult. So that's just my theory. It could also be caused by like a new work experience or a new school experience, or opportunity that has challenged your confidence in some way. So like, again, the test that I could not pass. that was challenging me because I was like, baby, who is you talking to? Like, I know I ain't stupid. Like, why I can't pass this test? I could not pass that test, y'all. And come to find out, it had nothing to do with my ability, as a thinker, or it was just the way I test, right? Like, I had to buy this study system that helped me because of the way I learned. So when I bought that system, aced the test, like first time, passed it. It was all in how I learned. It had nothing to do with my ability because clearly I could pass the test because I passed it. So, any kind of school opportunity or work opportunity or mothering, that's the whole opportunity. Anything that challenges your confidence could be a reason why you develop imposter syndrome. Regular old personality traits. So if you already have low self-esteem, if you already have anxiety, like I talked about earlier, if you already are overachiever, just naturally type A type of thing, that can develop into imposter syndrome. I said it already, anxiety disorders or any other mental health disorders. And then lastly, cultural expectations and values that differ from your own. So, I dealt with a lot of children with different cultural backgrounds who struggle with imposter syndrome, and I could understand why, because they had cultural norms and beliefs that they weren't no longer aligning with now that they're on their own and they're in school and they're realizing, hey, like, I don't necessarily agree with this, and my family sent me to school to be an engineer. I really want to just be a teacher. Like, that was a real thing. I had a student like that at Georgia Tech. Like, family sent her all the way from across the country to be an engineer and keep it in the family, and she was like, Tiana, I just want to be a yoga teacher. Like, she was so serious. She wanted to teach kids and she wanted to teach yoga. She was like, I don't want to do this. So it was really challenging for her in so many ways to try to get through it. So yeah, things like that can be the cause of imposter syndrome. For me, living a life filled with imposter like beliefs about myself has led to all kinds of consequences for me. People pleasing, the over need of validation, not feeling good enough, low self-esteem, the inability to take compliments and then minimizing those said compliments. I have a friend right now. She gonna crack up when she hear this. She loves, I know that genuinely she's so proud of me because she tells me all the time, and she she likes to introduce me as, this my friend, T, A, B, C, D, E, S, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, P. She like to do all the letters that's behind my name. And I think it's so funny. And I know it's her complimenting me because she's always talking about how proud she is of me, but that thing made me cringe. Okay. It makes me cringe so bad. And she be the first one calling me out on why I cannot take a compliment or just sit in the fact that, I've done these things and I've got this far in life, and you want to get me uncomfortable, like start calling out my accolades and stuff like that. I'm gonna clam up in a shell. Like, I don't like it. And I was just talking with a family member the other day about this episode and like understanding through therapy why I don't like stuff like that. Like, I don't like to be praised out loud because for me, there were some early messages for me that oh, we celebrate her too much. Oh, well, we always talk about what she did. Let's talk about somebody, like, making me feel as if I didn't deserve those things. So I did internalize that stuff. I internalized those messages and felt like I wasn't worthy of being celebrated, or maybe, it wasn't okay that I was always being talked about or receiving stuff, and it just didn't feel good. So, and it led to things like, did I really earn these degrees? Like, same with motherhood. Like I said, it's not easy for me to hear compliments and like genuinely receive them. People be like, oh, you're a good mom. I'd be like, girl, you too. You a good mom too. Like, they be like, oh, you did so good. And I'm like, girl, you doing the best you can. Like, I can't, anything to deflect off of me. Anything to deflect off of me because, not feeling worthy is a thing. Like, it's a real thing. Breed Black Mom has been one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life. Like, every time I turn on this microphone and start talking, there is fear. There are so many voices, not the schizophrenia type, like not them type of voice, but the internal, consciousness type. Don't be trying to commit me and call the people on me. Anyway, but seriously, me, telling myself like, ain't nobody gonna listen, you don't know what you're talking about. They ain't gonna like this episode. And I promise y'all, If my sister could ever get on this mic, she would tell y'all, like, every episode I've done this season properly. I'm sending the drafts over to my sister, and I'm like, all right, this one ain't that good, but it's all I got, so just go ahead and edit it. Like, every single time she would tell y'all, like, and I'm sure she's listening to this right now, nodding her head, like, I'm so sick of her. Every time I send one over, I'm like, I don't really like that one, you know, I just do it, just put it together, because we got to get it out. Like, I just... It's crazy. My husband too. I'd be like, yeah. He'd be like, babe, you finished? Yeah, I finished it. It wasn't that good though. It wasn't that good, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it out. And then the episode come out and y'all be like, oh my God, I loved it. And I'll be like, child, who gave me a seat at this table? Like, so confused. But this platform for me has not only built a community of listeners who relate to me and you know, normalize what I feel like are experiences that have only been unique to me, but it has allowed me to free myself of the fear of not being good enough and being able to embrace more of me, being the dope human that I am. My friends jumping for joy right now, because listen, the way they be trying to drill that junk in my head, they like, yes, see, I hear y'all, I see y'all snapping, because they be telling me all the time, like, you are dope and I don't know why you don't know it. Like, they tell me that all the time. Well, Breathe Black Mom, this whole journey down this podcast has helped me to really start embracing that, man. And you know, whoever planted that seed for you that is listening, you know, you who are listening, or that early message for you that you weren't good enough, that you didn't deserve to be celebrated, that you may have lucked up in getting this job, or you got lucky because you got these good kids, these beautiful kids, and you know, you lucky because the path was easier for you, or this or that, or whatever experiences that you encountered that further increased that anxiety for you and those feelings of self-doubt. It is not who you are. It is not who you are. You deserve and you've earned every bit of who and where you are. And some of the ways that you can start embracing that for yourself is, number one, start separating the feelings from the fact, baby. The feelings from the fact. I told y'all in the last episode, these feelings, they change like the weather. They change like, you can't be believing your feelings. I be believing my feelings, but you can't. Okay? Don't listen to me. Listen to what I'm telling you, which came from somebody else. Separate them feelings from the facts, right? Your feelings are just your feelings. The facts is that you dope. That's the facts. The facts is you're a great mom. You know, the facts is you're a great career woman. The facts are, you know, you're an awesome singer. Whatever it is, separate that feeling of inadequacy from the fact, right? Believe the people when they tell you. Because the people, one thing we know about these people in the age of social media, they gonna tell you when you're not, right? They gonna tell you. They gonna cancel you. They gonna tell you. So if they telling you great, for once in your life, take a chance on yourself and believe it, right? The other thing you can do is take note of your accomplishments and acknowledge what you've achieved. It's hard for me too. Like, write it down one day. Get you a notebook. Ain't nobody got to see it if you still scared. If you like, I don't want to be bragging on myself. Take a note. All the things you accomplished. It don't have to be degrees and all this stuff. But what's something you did? If you saved $100 and you won't ever able to save 50 cents, girl, write it down. Write it down. I saved $100. Look at me. I'm dope. Okay. Look, acknowledge all your achievements, every last one of them. Then stop comparing yourself to other people and reframe your view. Like, stop comparing yourself. Listen, boy, I could do a whole, listen, I got a whole lineup for y'all for season 2 of stuff. I could do a whole episode on comparison, right? It's a great book that my friend put me on to that I actually enjoy that book. One of my favorites. I listened to it, of course. Y'all know I ain't read it. I listened to it. It's great, though. It's called Killing Comparison by Nona Jones. Oh, my God. If you are one of those people who are constantly comparing yourself to other people, please read that book. Listen to the book. I enjoy listening to it. It was really, really good. But Killing Comparison, stop, y'all. Like, your gift, what you're called to, what you're supposed to do ain't somebody else's gift. So I don't care how they doing it or what they doing it with. You're uniquely built to do and be who you are. So stop comparing yourself to other people. And talk to other people who do support and validate you. Now, let me pause right here. Let me put the brakes right here for a second, because this was important to me. Okay, this is important to me because I haven't always been in environments and in places where I'm validated, right? Like, I'm trying to be careful, and I've learned from that. I've learned from that, because if you consistently tell somebody, you know, what they're doing is hurting you and what they're saying is hurting you, and they don't believe it, you gotta remove yourself from that, right? You gotta remove yourself, and you gotta surround yourself with the people who do support you and the people who do validate you. Because regardless of what we think or say, listen, as a therapist who knows Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need people. Okay, we need people, and some of the people that are your people, or like are your people by like blood, or you know, people that you didn't necessarily choose, may not be your people. That's hard sometimes, though, to be like, dang, like can't go to them for the validation I need. But there's people out there who are your circle, who are your village, and that's where you can go. Like, go where you are celebrated, not tolerated, baby. Like that is a thing. When you find that, baby, listen. When you find that, you're going to see like the peace and the joy that brings, where you can just show up as who you are. You know, you don't have to prove nothing to them, and they're going to support you. They're going to validate you. They're going to love on you. There are places you can go to get the things that you're missing. You don't have to be constantly chasing it from people who are never going to give it to you. That's a false expectation you're setting for yourself, a false expectation you're setting for them. So instead of disappointing yourself over and over and over again, baby, go where you celebrate it. Okay. Go where you celebrate it and validate it, and stay there. Right. And stay there. It'll propel you. Like I told you when I said I'm dope, you gonna start believing that stuff. If that's what you're constantly around, you ain't gonna have no choice after a while to be believing, because you're gonna be tired of saying it, because they gonna be sick of, like, how many times you gonna come to us and say this, and we're gonna tell you every single time that you dope. Like, that's how I feel about my circle. Like, I hear it so much that I have no choice but to believe it now. Anything different, I'll be dumb to not believe, because they tell me so much that I'm just like, you know what, they might not be lying. Like, we've been friends a gosh darn long time. Like, I think about, and that's the thing though, don't get it twisted. They ain't just singing my praises. They check me too. You know, like my people check me too. They tell me when you tripping. Like, they check me too, but I trust them, and you know, they do it with love. And yeah, so go where people are supporting and validating you. It'll help counteract everything that your mind is telling you so easy. And then last but not least, y'all already know I was going to say this one. You already know what I was going to say about this one, right? Talk to a therapist. Hello. Talk to a therapist. If you just can't understand it, you just like, I'm sick of these thoughts, I'm sick of my mind, to talk to a therapist. They will help you. Remember the yarn? Remember that episode? If you don't know what I'm talking about, y'all ain't been listening, so go back. They will help you unravel this. Get to the bottom of it, help you figure out where the source comes from, and then help you heal. So go talk to a therapist. I know one of the things that really helped me on this journey, I'm sitting here talking about books, and I don't even like to read. I'm gonna blame my friend for this, but she didn't even put me on this book. I found this book on my own. But one of the things that really helped me on the journey with imposter syndrome was the book Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. First of all, I'm a Shonda Rhimes fan. Okay, anything she put out, I'm watching it because I love her. So I naturally flocked to the book, because I wanted to hear more about her, just as a author and as a writer. So I read the book, listened to the book. Anytime I say read, y'all, that meant I listened to it. Amazing. It was an amazing listen, because she's very entertaining. And I also bought the physical book, because I like to use it, did like to use it with some of my clients whenever this topic came up. But when I first read this book, I didn't even know what imposter syndrome was. But after I was learning about imposter syndrome, I was like, oh my God, Year of Yes is a perfect opportunity. A perfect book for somebody who struggles with imposter syndrome, because that's pretty much what she's talking about in that book. It's her struggling with imposter syndrome, and then telling herself that she was going to give herself a year to, you know, reframe those thoughts in her head and start saying yes to herself. Like, start saying yes to things. It's really, really good, y'all. And if you struggle with imposter syndrome, go read that book. Go read Year of Yes. It really helped me at least kickstart like the journey of like, all right, Tiana, you got to start betting on yourself every now and then. So yeah, one of the things I said yes to this year and was willing to bet myself on this year was Breathe Black Mom, the podcast. I already said it earlier. You know, this platform has allowed me to break free of the internal struggle that I've had over the years, that have caused me to create these limits for myself and stay wrapped up in this bondage of fear in my mind that I'm not capable, that I'm not qualified, and that I can't do it. Well, I did it. I did it, y'all. And that's just the first step of many that I'm choosing to take in regaining my power over who I am and who God has called me to be. Like, I'm a work in progress. And I get to be so open and, honest about that in this space. I created Breathe Black Mom as a safe place for moms to come relax, relate, and release. And also because I just desired people to see me, right? To see T, the regular old girl, right? A mom who is not the overachiever, who's not the smart kid, who's not the popular cheerleader, who's not the goody two shoes, or sorry, y'all, who's not the goody two shoes, who's not a perfect mom, just a mom, just me, just T. That's it. That's all I wanted. I wanted people, to know me outside of what I've accomplished or what I could do for them, or outside of seeing me as a threat to who they are. What's that about? I don't know. And it's my hope that I've accomplished that here. It is my hope and my sincere prayer every time I turn this mic on that I have touched someone who've listened in some way. I don't care, what kind of way. If it was just one person, then my mission here is complete. Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I want to personally thank you all, my listeners, my BBMs and BBLs, pause, and let all of you know how much I appreciate you all for just believing in me enough and supporting me enough to hit play each and every week during this season. Like, y'all could have been doing so many other things on a Wednesday morning or whatever day you chose to listen, but you made a choice to tune in and you made a choice to listen to little old me, and that means more to me than you could ever know, man. Like, I have no words other than just thank you. Like, without y'all, literally none of this would have been possible. There would be no Breathe Black Mom, the podcast, or community, or BBMs, or BBLs without y'all. So thank you so much to my listeners. I also want to thank my family and my friends for the push. Sometimes literally just put, girl, what is you doing? Right? To not just do this, but to keep going during those times when I was feeling defeated, when I was feeling unmotivated, or just plain old undeserving and unqualified. Listen, I truly have a solid rock of a support system, man, surrounding me, and I feel absolutely blessed for all of y'all who, just love me some kind of deep. Like, that is a blessing to have people who love you that much and who believe in you that much. I did it, y'all. I did it, man. I did it. And I appreciate y'all's feedback. I appreciate y'all's commentary and, blowing up my phone every week when the episode's out. Good episode. Do this. Even the ones slow down till you talk too fast. Or, like giving me the good raw feedback that I needed. So my family and my friends, oh my God, I love y'all. Cupcakes on me, because we gonna celebrate season 1 we are going to celebrate season 1. To my sister, who has been my creative director, my designer, my editor, my soundboard for Breathe Black Mom. Listen, thank you. Thank you is not enough, ma'am. It is not enough. Like, every post that y'all get to see on Breathe Black Mom platforms, video content, funny edits in the show, all her. That's all her. That is none of me. And she's the freaking GOAT. Okay. She's the freaking GOAT at this thing. I'm so proud of her. She is multi-talented. And I'm appreciative of her and all the work she has put into this season. Cause listen, without her, y'all wouldn't have no season. Cause I don't know how to edit and cut and throw stuff in. I don't know how to do none of that. That ain't me. That ain't me at all. I'm just get on this mic and talk, and I pass it on over to her, and she make magic happen. So, sis, thank you. Thank you so much. I would plug her page name, but my husband and myself has been trying to convince her to change this name forever. I refuse to say it across this platform. But if you want to, have her assist you in any way with content design, editing, any of the above, any of what you see on my platform, she does. I don't do any of it. I promise y'all, it's her. My photos were taken by Still Shots Photography. Throw that plug in there. So all those professional photos you see, go see her over here in Greensboro, North Carolina. But yeah, my sister, if you want, any of her work, or you would love for her to help you out in any of your content, hit me up. I will give you her info. Love you, sis. Thank you so much. To mommy's babies, Jay, Jordy, and Jazz, also known as Pooch, who were the driving force and inspiration behind me taking on this task and platform. Thank you all for allowing mommy to share your stories. Thank you for believing in mommy and giving me permission to use our experiences on this journey together to encourage the world. Thank you guys for being brave enough to get on the microphone and share pieces of who you are with our listeners. Wherever Breathe Black Mom goes, mommy is going to be sure to take you all with me on this journey. I love you guys. And last but certainly not least, certainly not least by far, to my greatest supporter, man, my backbone, my biggest cheerleader. Oh my God, the one who gets the raw behind the scenes footage that none of y'all get. Me having a nervous breakdown about whether or not I could even do this. My husband, man, the greatest, man, the greatest. There are not enough words in a dictionary ever in life to explain what you mean to me, sir. I don't care what it is I want to do or what it is I think I can do. You've always believed in it bigger, better, and better than me. And for this, I just love and appreciate you so much. Like, I could say I'm going to go to the moon. Babe, I'm going to the moon. And guess what? Tomorrow, Amazon going to be delivering my shoes. Because he going to order me some moon shoes with a matching outfit. And he going to be like, babe, I got the kids. We going to see you when you get back. Fly safe. Like, this man got my back. Do you hear me? He got my back, and he has wiped my tears, okay, over this podcast. He has encouraged me. He has set the laptop back in my lap and said, keep writing. He has pushed the mic in my face and set it up and said, babe, record. When I've wanted to quit and told me to keep going. Breathe Black Mom would absolutely not be possible without you, babe. And I love you, and I appreciate you so much for how much you love me and how much you support me. And Sunday, we get to celebrate 12 years of marriage. Ooh, shout out to us. Happy early anniversary, husband. And through all the ups, downs, and in between, I would keep choosing you every single time. I love you so much, babe. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for believing me. And listen, plug. I've been holding out all season. Y'all go follow my man's business, okay? Because Breathe Black Mom is also sponsored by Jay's Kitchen. Okay, Jay's Kitchen is my man's business. And listen, he can cook. Not like play cook. He can cook. cook. Okay, so go follow him, and if he having a sale or something like that, go buy some food from him. And he cater and he do all that. So make sure y'all hit him up or hit me up if you want some food, because he does this thing. He does this, and he you know, he ain't new to it. He true to it. All right, y'all. All right, that's it. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me through season 1. Oh my God, I have so much more in store for y'all. Oh my God, so much more. I'm excited because I already know, like, y'all don't know, but I do. And I assure you, this is only the beginning for Breed Black Mom, man. This is only the beginning. So much more to come. So I'm hoping y'all gonna stick around and be around to see it come to fruition. This is not goodbye. I got stuff coming for y'all this summer. So stay tuned. Make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're subscribed and following for all of those updates. Just because season 1 has ended, don't mean the reviews are over. This is when they mean the most. I told y'all that earlier. This is what I mean. Here at the end of the show, we need it more than anything. So y'all know the drill. Don't forget to leave a review, because the people did it. It's done. Like, we conquered imposter syndrome. We silenced the noise of inadequacy. We gave you a full season of Breed Black Mom, the podcast. So the least you can do for the people as we go on, we'll remember we will still be friends forever. Like, the least you can do for the people is leave a review. Okay? Tell the people if you liked it or not. If you're looking forward to the new season, whatever else you want to say, just say it. Like, the people did it. Season 1, it's a wrap, y'all. As always, thanks for listening. I will talk to y'all soon, real soon. And until then, just breathe.